structure from PDB and उसके like क्या basic हमने दो format में उसका check किया था, या तो हम लोग MMCIF format में structure को download कर सकते हैं, otherwise the another format was directly PDB format में हमने download किया था. And basically there are two types of parser that you use. For MMCIF, there was an MMCIF parser, and for PDB, it was PDB parser. Right. Another thing that I want you to keep thing in mind is कि एक और example I will take, like I will take the same example जो हमने कल किया था PDB का. It's just there are 2-3 things that you can also access using BioPython once you download a particular structure of proteins in the PDB format. Right. So let's say we start off by importing everything. So first we'll write bio.pdb import thing, and then let's just create our PDB list. Okay, so we have PDB equals to PDB list, and then I'll retrieve the file. I'll retrieve the same file. So PDB underscore trib retrieve underscore file. Let me retrieve the same file to FAT, and then I'll give a directory, and then your file format. So file format will be our PDB, and then I'll call the parser. So parser will be PDB parser, and then first will be permissive equals to true, and next thing will be quite equals to true, and then let's say I store the value in a data. So I'll write parser dot get structure. First argument will be the name or the ID of the protein, and second will be the name in which protein will be saved. So let me write it as PDB to FAT dot, I will store it in ENT format, and then I'll just print my data. Spelling mistake here. PDB RTIEVE retrieve file. Oh, sorry. Retrieve PDB file. Sorry. Okay, so it says that the structure already exists क्योंकि कल हमने ये download कर लिया था, and it shows you the structure ID for this specific protein, that is 2FAT. Now what I want to show you is कि there are certain things जो इस PDB file में होंगे. For example, जो हमने कल PDB file मैंने open करके दिखाया था, तो that PDB file basically consists of your उस PDB file का नाम एक होगा, मतलब प्रोटीन का एक नाम होगा, उसके chain होंगे, chain का length क्या होगा, then there are certain vectors, that is atoms का specific positions होते हैं जो XYZ coordinates होंगे. So all those things you can actually access it from BioPython. So those things are basically known as your headers, basically जो हम बात करेंगे, right? So first of all we will see कि actually में क्या-क्या headers हमारे PDB file में store होते हैं. So for that what we will do is कि to know कि कौन सा हमारे headers हैं, what you can do is just write header dot keys, and it will show you कि basically कौन-कौन से प्रकार के header जो हैं they are stored in your PDB file. So the headers that are actually stored in your PDB file are the name of the protein, the head, basically the ID of the protein, then ID code is there, then deposition date is there, release date is there, structure method is there. So what you guys can do is actually you can take all these values, इसको हम लोग individually भी वो कर सकते हैं, extract कर सकते हैं इसका value. So let's say कि अगर मुझे check करना है कि उसका डिपोजिशन डेट कब था, मतलब उस पर्टिकुलर प्रोटीन स्ट्रक्चर को डिपॉजिट कब किया गया था पीडीबी में, एंड उसको रिलीज कब किया ऑनलाइन पीडीबी सर्वर पे. तो व्हाट आई कैन डू इज आई विल जस्ट राइट प्रिंट. फर्स्ट आई विल इंपोर्ट माय डेटा, क्योंकि मेरे डेटा वेरिएबल में सारा वैल्यू स्टोर्ड है, तो आई विल कॉल इट डेटा, एंड देन आई विल राइट हेडर, एंड आफ्टर हेडर आई विल डिफाइन कि मुझे कौन सा स्पेसिफिक वैल्यू चाहिए. सो लेट्स आई वांट टू फाइंड माय डिपोजिशन डेट, सो आई विल राइट डिपोजिशन अंडरस्कोर डेट, and let's say मुझे release date भी चाहिए. So data dot header and then release underscore date. So the output that will give you something like this. So the first date is basically your deposition date. So it was deposited on 7th December 2005, and then it was released on 14th of November 2006. Right. So also you can, मतलब जो भी हम header चाहिए, you can just write the name from here. So I want my deposition date. That's why I've written here deposition date. Let's say you want your ID, so you will write ID code here. Let's say you want your structure method, so you write structure method. You want your resolutions, just write it resolution here. So these will be basically your dictionary keys. So these are the basically keys value जो तुम्हारे उसमें stored है PDB file में, and then you can extract each of these values using this function, right? Is this clear? Okay, how would you extract individual values from your PDB file?
Yes, sir.
Now sometimes what happens is ki, when you go to a particular PDB website and you download a particular protein structure, so that protein structure is also present in multiple structures. For example कि जो protein structure तुम्हारे पास होगा वो सिर्फ एक structure नहीं होगा, that will be a combination of let's say 20 structures या 30 structures. वो सब total 30 structures या 20 structures मिलके एक structure बन रहा होगा, right? So basically वो कभी कभार कैसा होता है कि when you do docking process, for example in docking, जब हम docking करते हैं, so what your software does is basically it finds the active site in a protein and takes the ligand and tries to see whether the ligand is getting fitted in the active site or not. And it tries different permutation combinations also, like अलग अलग orientation में देखता है कि कौन से orientation में हमारा ligand सबसे अच्छे से active site में bind कर रहा है, and the energy should be as low as it can get, like the energy should be as negative as it can get, because negative energy basically shows that कि वो structure हमारा stable structure है, right? So in a similar way, when someone submits a particular protein structure as well, so there is not a defined structure of protein, like वो protein का structure भी जो होता है ना, अलग अलग versions होंगे, because whenever you find a protein structure, those protein structures are basically found using your X-ray diffraction method, जहाँ पे हम X-rays डालेंगे, जो भी diffraction होता है जिस भी angle पे, हम उसके corresponding हमें values मिलते हैं, and then we feed those data, those particular values corresponding to which we get a structure, and then we say कि okay, let's say हमारे पास 20 structures आए, out of those 20 structures we will say कि जो structure सबसे stable रहेगा, that will be the best structure out of everyone, right? So कभी कभार क्या होता है, you will find a particular protein whereby it consists of more than 2 or more than 3 structures also. So that is called as models. That is, your individual protein has also different models itself. So you can also access or find whether the protein that you have downloaded, whether it contains different models or not, मतलब उसका कोई और दूसरे versions हैं या नहीं है, right? So for that what you can do is, let me just delete this one here. So for that what you can do is ki, I'll just create, let's say, another variable model, and then I will be calling my data variable, because in data everything is stored. So I'll call data dot, the function is get models. This is the function that you will be calling out. Let's say कि I'm calling out, I'm saving it into another variable called as models, considering the fact that हो सकता है मेरे प्रोटीन के पास एक से ज्यादा स्ट्रक्चर है. So that's why I'm creating another variable called as models. I don't know कि कितने स्ट्रक्चर हो सकते हैं, right? So I'm assuming कि हो सकता है एक से ज्यादा होंगे. So that's why I'm creating another variable called as models. And in this models, what I'll give the command is कि list all the model. जितने भी मॉडल यहाँ पे उसे मिले. So what this is doing is कि first I've created a variable whereby from this data it will extract all the possible models that are there. Then I will store all those models in a list format, and I'll store it into another variable called as models. Okay, and then I'll just print my models to see what my output is. So the output that it will give you is saying model ID equals to 0. That means the protein that we have downloaded only consists of one structure. एक से ज़्यादा structure इसके नहीं है. There is only one specific model for the protein ID 2F80, right? So that's why it has shown you 0. अगर वो एक से ज़्यादा होता तो यहाँ पे 1, 2, 3 whatever it would have been, वो यहाँ पे तुमको show करेगा. So this is how to retrieve a model. Now what happens is कि inside your protein, कभी कभार क्या होता है कि एक प्रोटीन में एक से ज्यादा चेन्स भी होते हैं, लाइक चेन ए, चेन बी, चेन सी, व्हाटएवर इट इज, राइट? So inside a model there are different kind of chains. So using BioPython you can actually extract the chains data as well, right? So the basic command will be the same thing, like dot get method हम use करेंगे, जस्ट जहाँ पे हमको मॉडल चाहिए था हमने डॉट गेट अंडरस्कोर मॉडल लिखा, जहाँ हमें चेन चाहिए वहाँ पे डॉट गेट अंडरस्कोर चेन लिखेंगे, एंड सिमिलरली वी विल बी चेंजिंग द वर्डिंग आफ्टर गेट. सो डॉट गेट मेथड कॉमन रहेगा. नाउ लेट्स से मुझे चेन चाहिए, ठीक है, तो मैंने क्या किया, आई विल क्रिएट अनदर वेरिएबल, लेट्स से चेन्स, considering the fact कि एक से ज़्यादा chains हो सकते हैं. So that's why I'm creating a variable chains and I am will storing the values in the form of list. And मेरे को chains चाहिए कहाँ से, model में से चाहिए, right? So I will be calling the model here because the hierarchy is basically कि first you are downloading the whole structure of the protein. In that protein you consider the fact that हो सकता है इसके पास एक से ज़्यादा model हो सकते हैं. That's why you created another variable called as models. In that model you have chains, in that chain you have residues, in that residues you have atoms, like at the very minimum level, right? So I'll be calling first chains here. So I'll write list and then I'll write chains 0. Now what this chains 0 basically does is कि, for example, let's say if your protein consisted of more than one structure, so it would have given you model ID saying model ID 0, model ID 1 ऐसे करके. That's why you have specified it as 0. Now here we have only one structure, but still we have to specify it because that specific model has an ID number corresponding to it. So that's why still, even if it consists of just one structure, you still have to give an index number to the specific model that you have downloaded. So we'll write chains 0 and then we'll write get underscore chains and then just chains. So chains is not defined. Just a sec. Oh, sorry. Model. Just a sec. Data goes to what comes from models goes to list model, print models, chains equals to list models 0 dot get underscore chains, print chains. सही तो है. Type object is not subscriptable. Okay, let me do this way. Chain equals to not start. So what is happening here is कि you can't directly write it in one sentence. I was trying to write it in one specific sentence, but I think that is not happening here. So just the way we have defined model here, the same way you can define your chain as well. So first I've created a variable called as chain, and I've called my model, that is the model number 0, index number 0, and then I'm using get chains method, and then I'm storing it into another variable, all the list of the chains that are there, and then I'm print it. So it shows me that there are basically two types of chains which are out there, chain L and chain H. These are the two chains, and these are the corresponding ID of those chains, right? Now what I want is to get the residues of the individual chains. So what I can do is I'll just create in the same way I can create another one called as residue, and then I'll write because now I have to call the chain one. So I'll write, let's say, chains, and then I have to specify which chain. So L will be the 0th ID and H will be the first ID. So I'll write chains dot 0 and then get residues, and then I'll store it into another variable, residues equals to list of residue, and just print my residues. So it will give me all the residues which are there in chain number 0. That means chain ID having the ID as L. So it says aspartate is there. Then you can go there. Leucine is there. GL and glutamine is there. Serine is there. Isoleucine is there. Aspartate is there. So you can get all the residues which are present in the chain number L. In the similar way, you can get for chain this one H as well. Just you have to write 1 here instead of 0. Just write it 1, and it will give you the residues for chain corresponding chain H1. So it will give you the result residues for chain H. Now let's say I want what are the atoms which are present in chain number H, let's say. So what I can do is in the similar way, I will create another variable called as atom, and I'll call my residue here. So I'll write residue, and let's say I call the first residue, that means the chain number H residue, and then I'll write get underscore atoms, and then I'll create a list of atoms. Now it says that these are the residues, and then it says residue generator ID. Now what this basically does is it gives you the ID, corresponding ID for all the XML file. So now because we have extracted the file in .ent format, so whatever data that your XML file is holding for the atoms, specifically for atoms, those are basically stored in this particular file format. And this file you will be getting in your PyCharm folder, जहाँ पे हमने अपना 2FAT PDB protein को download किया हुआ है. Right, so you will be getting all the specific IDs in this way. You can cross refer it by opening your PDB file in a text editor. Just open your PDB file in a text editor, and there you will be getting all the data of your specific atoms as well as their vector positions. So sometimes they will be using the terms vector instead of position, so don't get confused. Vectorization basically means the X, Y, and Z coordinates that a specific atom has been defined for, because our protein structures are 3D structures. So for every atom, there is an X, Y, Z coordinates corresponding to the specific position of an atom. So those are known as vectorization or the vector method, basically. Is this clear with everyone? How you can extract the data, the chains, the residues?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So for getting access to motifs, what we can do is we can directly import the motif package from BioPython. So we can write from bio import motifs, and let's say we are defining a specific sequence, right? We are giving a specific sequence. So for that, we will be importing from bio dot sequence import sequence, right? Now let's say I am defining a variable called as motif, and inside that motif, what I'll be creating is I'll be creating an array. Okay, so acha, can anyone tell me what is the difference between an array and a list?
So a list can contain either integers, floats, and it can contain either of it. But I don't remember what an array is, but I know what a
Array
list
में
is.
मतलब same type के वो functions होते थे, मतलब एक ही जैसे.
Right. So basically, both of you are right. So list can contain any kind of data set inside it. It could be integer, float, strings, whatever it is. But array will only contain a single type of data set in it. That is the only basic difference between list and array. Otherwise, everything is common between both lists and array. Okay. So what we're doing is we'll be creating an array for motifs, whereby I will be defining 3 sequences, right? So to define a sequence, I'll just call sequence, and let me just be very easy, like ATGCA. This will be my first sequence. Then I'll define another sequence. Let's say AGCTA, whatever it is. And let's say I define another sequence GCTAG, whatever it is. Okay. Now, so I've defined an array. Now what I will do is I'll now call my motifs to create motifs out of these things. So what I'll do is let me create another variable seq, and then I'll call my motif function motifs dot create, and then I'll be giving my variable whereby I have created these 3 sequences, right? And then I can just print my sequence. So in the output, what you oh, sorry. Motifs dot create list object is not yet create motifs dot create. So so I'm sorry, actually both of them were motifs, so that's why it got confused कि ये package यहाँ पे export हुआ कि package यहाँ पे export हुआ, right? So I created motifs. So what this basically did was it just replicated whatever sequences that I've written here, right? So you can print it in the same way, but what we can do is instead of using this in the format, what you can do is you can actually get the count of these motifs. So what you can do is like print sequence and just write counts. So for corresponding these specific nucleotide sequences, you will get a count. So the count that you will be getting will be something in this manner. It will be a grid type of thing here. So what this grid basically represents is there are 4 nucleotides that we have used, that is A, C, G, and T, and these are the indexings of those nucleotides, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Now what this number basically denotes is for A, so what this 2 basically denotes is कि इन तीनों sequences में A जो है वो 0th position पे कितने बार आया है. So here it has in this first sequence A is at 0 position, in second sequence A is at 0 position, in third sequence A 0 position में नहीं है. So 0 position पे A 2 बार आया, so that's why it has written as 2. First position में A एक बार भी नहीं आया इसलिए 0. Second position में भी A एक बार भी नहीं आया इसलिए 0. Third position में A एक बार आया है इसलिए 1, and fourth position पे A 2 बार आया है इसलिए 2. In a similar way, it shows for C, G, and T. So this basically shows your count for the specific nucleotides inside your motif that you have created, right? So basically motif here means is the small segment of DNA, like a sequence, specific sequences that we are focusing on, right? And out of those specific nucleotides, you can create a count and get specific counts either in this way. One way is to get count in this way. So just if you write dot count, it will give you the count of all the nucleotides that you have used in the motif that you have created. Let's say you want to find the count of a specific nucleotide only. Let's say I just want to find the count of A, let's say. So what you want to do is just change a bit of code here. Just you will write A and just print it. So it will give you the specific count of your A. So it says that 20012. That means A at 0th position A came twice. First position A came 0. Second position A is not there. Third position A came 1, and on fourth position A was 2 times. So this is specifically for A. In a similar way, you can get for T as well. Just write T here, and it will give you the result for T, the specific count for a specific nucleotides. So it will give you for T as well, right? So in this way, you can create your own motifs, or you can just copy paste your motif from a database server and just get the counts of those motifs if you want. कि कितने बार वो sequences में हमारे motifs आए हैं specifically. So is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now what I want you guys to do is, you can see at just everyone come at the bottom left side of your PyCharm. There is a option called as terminal. Do you see that? Is everyone able to see the terminal here in the bottom left side of your PyCharm?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just go to terminal. It will open up something like this, right? and just write this command, pip space install space matplotlib. Just type this and press enter. It will take some time because it will be downloading this specific package. We require this specific package for our graph thing. So once we will be plotting everything, for those things we require matplotlib. Okay, so just download it using your pip command. So once it's downloaded, just let me know. It will take around 1 to 2 minutes to download it. Just let me know once you all have downloaded your matplotlib. So this pip, basically what this pip is this pip is basically a code you can use to install any kind of packages. Now there are two ways by which you can install a package in a PyCharm in a PyCharm software. One is by accessing the terminal and directly giving this command. Now sometimes what happens is, for example, you can see here it gives me it's not actually an error, it's just a notification saying that I'm using an older version of pip and a new version of pip is available, which I can download it. It's totally up to the user whether you want to update your pip version or not. Sometimes what happens, just using pip, and if you are using just pip and installing some package, it won't get installed. So in that case, what you can do is just write pip 3, right, and then click and just write whatever you want to install and the name of the package, and then just press enter. It will do the same thing. So this is just an updated version of pip, that is pip 3 basically. So this is the one way via which you can actually install any package using terminal. Another way is by going to file, going to settings. Inside your setting, go to your project. Inside your project, go to project interpreter. And then from this, you can get a plus sign and just search here. You can search matplotlib here as well. Matplotlib. You can see, and you can just click and install the package here as well. Just as we did for BioPython, in the similar way you can do for matplotlib from here as well. But sometimes there's an error once you do it from here. So it's safe to do it from your terminal one. So like you don't have to do anything. Just write specific command, name of the package, and just press enter, and it will download all your packages. Okay. So I will start off with the plotting thing as well. So for those of you guys who haven't installed like matplotlib as of now, you guys can just see around with the code. Just try to write it on your notebook, and once you have installed matplotlib, then you can just try to run it alongside. Okay. So there are basically two types of packages that we will be importing. One is matplotlib, and sometimes we also will be using what is known as your NumPy. Right, so these are the two packages that you have to be very much like clear about, and these are very basic packages. So NumPy is a package that consists of all of your mathematical formulations, like trigonometric identities or inverse trigonometric identities, differential equations, integrations, general algebraic and linear progressions. All those mathematical equations are stored in a NumPy. And matplotlib is a basic package that is only used for your representation of something like graphical representations. And using matplotlib, you can actually plot a linear graph or a bar graph or pie graph or your 3D diagrams, whatever it is, right? So I'll just show you a very basic example how you can utilize these two packages. NumPy we won't be using that much when you are doing a bioinformatic experiment, but if you are going for any kind of mathematical experiments, you can go for NumPy, right? But in bioinformatics, you won't be using NumPy that often. So I'll just show you how you can do it. So what you can do is you can just write import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. What basically this does is, from matplotlib you are basically importing a package known as pyplot, that means Python plotting, and you are importing it in the form of plt. So wherever you will be calling this particular package, you will be calling it in the name of plt. It is a short form. So basically इतना लंबा लिखने का जरूरत नहीं है. जहां जहां तुम PLT लिखोगे, Python will recognize it कि तुमने matplotlib को call किया package को. And this is a universal thing. Like whenever you see programmers who use matplotlib, they call it in the form of PLT only. Okay. And next package will be, we will be importing NumPy. So you will write import NumPy as NP. So जहां पे भी हमको NumPy लिखना है, we will just write it as NP. So these two are the universal things that globally people use to write a short form for these two packages, right? So get addicted to these two things, PLT and NP. Now let's say we just want to plot a very basic values of X and Y. So what I'll do is I'll just create a list of x values. Let's say I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 5 values for x, and let's say I have another 5 values corresponding to these x values. Let's say -1, 3, 10, -5, 8, whatever it is, right? And now I want to plot these two values. So for that, what you have to do is just first call your matplotlib. Now because we have written matplotlib as plt, so you will be writing plt dot, and you have to write plot, right? Until and unless you don't write plot dot plot, your values won't be plotted. Okay, so the first thing is you will be writing plt dot plot. That means you are giving the command to python saying ki bhai plot kar do. Then you have to give the argument कि किस चीज को plot करना है. So for that you will write x comma y. That means you are plotting x and y. Okay, sometimes keep this thing in mind कि यहाँ पे जरूरी नहीं कि x and y होगा. So the first argument is actually the argument which will be plotted on the x-axis. Second argument is the argument which will be plotted on the y-axis, right? So just to be clear here, इसलिए मैंने xy लिखा है. But otherwise यहाँ पे नाम अगर कुछ और होंगे तो just be clear with that. The first argument will be on the x-axis, second argument will be on the y-axis, right? And then another command that is really important in matplotlib is known as plt.show. That means until and unless you don't write plt.show, what Python will do is कि इस command से वो तुम्हारा जो values है उसको plot तो कर देगा, but तुम्हें दिखाएगा नहीं, क्योंकि you haven't given the command to show it. So that's why you have to write plt.show to actually allow Python to show you the output, right? And then you will just run your program. It will run it, and correspondingly a new pop-up will open up whereby you can see your graph. So this is a line graph that you can see. So let's say you started off with a value of x at 2, and corresponding to 2 your value of y was -1, right? So corresponding to 2 the value of y is -1, then corresponding to 4 the value of y is 3, then corresponding to 6 the value of y is 10, and then corresponding to 10 the value of y is -5, and then for value of 10 it is 8. So this is how you can plot line curve, basically basic line curve, right? Now what you can do is you have your x-axis here, you have your y-axis here. Now see, we haven't labeled the x-axis and y-axis. So what we can do is we can label x and y as well. So for that, what you can do is go here again and then just write plt dot x label